There is a reason why you haven't been able to find success in your goals, your dreams, and aspirations, and it's because you are too focused on the big picture and not the little things that you are doing in your everyday life. Your fatal flaw and lie that you are telling yourself is that the little things don't matter, when the little things are quite literally what are going to get you to your dream life. So if you want to learn how to level up your life and unlock the hottest, highest, and healthiest version of yourself, this is the podcast for you. Welcome to today's episode of Hot and Unbothered. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to my podcast. If you are new here, my name is Brianna Gomez, but you can call me Bri, and I am your host of Hot and Unbothered. If you are here, I am so happy to have you here. It feels so nice to be sitting, just you and I here together on our bestie FaceTime vibes. Whether this is your first time hearing my voice or your 100th time hearing your voice, welcome to the family. I'm so excited. We are going to be getting into something that is very heavy on my heart. I definitely have learned over the past years, I am the type of person who likes to hyperfixate on the end goal. When I have a goal, an idea, a dream, I sit and I think about it and I dream about it and how badly I want it and what it's going to be like when I finally do have it. But I had this problem where I never actually could execute. I could never put in the steps, and I would be so focused on getting from point A to point Z when really the first step is getting from point A to point B. We want this end goal, this dream, this idea that we have, yet we aren't willing oftentimes to put in the work that you need to get there. You're not going to teleport to your dream life one day. The difference is you have to start doing things today that your future self will thank you for. And you often think, how is that even possible? But you have to start eventually. I feel like we often have the dream and we want to wait until we start improving ourselves for when we have the dream. But that's really not how life works. I hope you guys are understanding what I'm trying to say. Today, we are doing an episode called How to Get 1% Better Each Day, especially with the end of the year approaching. It can be very daunting. I had all of these resolutions, these goals that I wanted to accomplish by January 1st of next year, but the truth is, one, even if you aren't going to finish it on January 1st, that's no reason to give up. And two, you have to start doing things today. If you want to accomplish or execute anything by a certain deadline, the first step is beginning, but that's often the part that we are all the worst at. But think of it like this: you're on a boat going through a voyage and you're looking at the map and you're looking where you are right now on the map versus where the hidden treasure or your destination is. Yes, you are very far. But it's not going to be like, okay, I'll just start eventually. If you know what the end goal is, that should be enough fuel and motivation to make you want to start the engine, to make you want to start your journey and do something. And that's the truth. And you're probably like, oh my gosh, I'm so far from being a millionaire. I'm so far from moving out, having my own family, having my dream job, starting my social media post. Well, you got to get there eventually. So why not start today? I have plenty of actionable tips that you guys can start today, implementing every single day as part of your routine that will make you improve, guaranteed. If you get 1% better each day for the whole year, you're going to be 37 times better next year. That's honestly a lot. If you think of who you are right now, all the best parts about you amplified by 37, that's a lot. Before we dive in, you guys know I love to share a podcast review. Today we have one from Trisha. She said, "Hi Bri, I started listening to your podcast this August to prepare myself for school, and your podcast has really helped me with my self-confidence and procrastination. Now I always feel confident with myself and know how to balance my time between fun and school. Thank you so much and keep doing what you do." From Trisha XX. Trisha, guys, I love reading your reviews. I seriously could not be here without you guys, and I hope you know that you putting in the work to focus on yourselves and improve, that is also what helps my dream come true. So it's mutually beneficial. You being here is improving you, but it's also improving me. And when you guys leave your feedback and your thoughts, that is helping me become better and know what you guys like, and I just love it so much. Don't forget, you can leave a podcast review for the chance to be featured next week. Rate the podcast 5 stars on Spotify. And before we get into it, don't forget to follow on Spotify, but YouTube, guys, we're so close to 100K, and my goal was to get a YouTube subscriber plaque by the end of the year. So we're all going to be reaching our goals today. We can do it. You should feel good about yourself for even clicking on this episode to begin with, because know this, that by the end of this episode, you will have actionable tips and hacks and strategies to use that will 100% make you 1% better, if not significantly more each day. Just a 1% is a minimum, but actually doing these things have made me significantly better and improved over time. So we are starting today. The number one thing we're going to do is remove the all or nothing mindset. That's what oftentimes stands in the way between you and your dream life, is you think that you can't start until everything is perfect. But the key is you start and then it becomes perfect, quote unquote. Nothing will ever be perfect. And there's a quote that's my favorite that I mentioned multiple times on the podcast, but it's that if we are always waiting until we are ready, we'll be waiting for the rest of our lives. And I think that's so true. And just such a testimony to, we as humans will never be fully ready for anything, and God has his own plan for what he's going to do for our lives. So essentially, like, the best we can do is be willing to show up every single day and to execute and be good stewards of our own lives. And what is meant for us will happen to us, but it will only happen for us if we put some movement in. Put some pep in our step, you know what I mean? But it's super crucial to take the perfectionism out of it. For example, for me, I would not start posting on social media until I had white walls. My walls in my room used to be a bubblegum, it was called like magic pink or something like that. It was not the most aesthetic. Now, honestly, I would love it. Maybe a couple shades lighter, but it wasn't the most aesthetic, trendy at the time, especially when everything was so minimalist and clean girl. And I would not start posting on social media until I had white walls, until I had the time and the day to paint my walls. I wouldn't film videos. And think of how much I would have grown if I would have just started and been consistent with it. So I need you to remember, the first step is starting. I know there's something in your head right now that you have been putting off for a significant amount of time. We all have something, right? For me, it was I wanted to launch a planner this year, which may or may not be coming soon, but I kept putting it off. And I'm like, what was I waiting for? The first step is starting. We often think that some magic wand is going to come around and be like, today I'm an ordinary person, but tomorrow I'm a social media sensation. That is hardly ever true. Maybe that would be ideal, but the harsh truth to remember is that you don't glow up overnight. You glow up by showing up. You don't become successful overnight. You become successful by showing up. You have to be willing to show up, not just for others, not just for external validation, not just for the end goal, but for you and yourself every single day. So every single day, if you wake up with the idea of, okay, how am I going to achieve my future goal? That's actually 5 years away. But if you just wake up with the idea of how can I make myself 1% better every single day, you will be actively and subconsciously inching closer to your end goal. And I'll give an example of posting on social media, for example. No, I did not get an instant following. I didn't pull a Charlie D'Amelio and wake up with 1 million followers and gain 1 million followers each day that I woke up. It was not like that, although that would have been amazing. We also see that that's not always a sustainable way to succeed or grow. I had to post and there was nobody watching. No one watching. If I got 4 likes one day and 11 views, that was a lot. That was like, okay, they're liking my stuff. But what's funny is, even though I wasn't getting my instant end goal, I didn't care. Not seeing instant gratification or instant success, that did not deter me away from my dream. So if your vision is strong enough and if you truly want it, if it's truly meant for you, there is no giving up. There is no, oh, it didn't come to me quick enough, so I don't want it. And so I kept posting, I kept building, I kept putting myself out there, because if you don't start, how will anyone ever find you? This goes for posting, this goes for dating, this goes for starting your own business, singing, whatever your goal is. I feel like I always say singing as an example. I don't know why. I feel like it's just a good generic one. Generic, as if everyone wants to be a singer. I know you all do secretly. You don't want quick results. You want consistency. I'm going to use a somewhat controversial example, and I don't even know if this is scientifically correct, but I know and have heard people who start Ozempic, right? They start Ozempic, and then when they get off of it, they gain all of their weight back. But the people who are actually consistent and show up for themselves every single day with their eating habits, with their health habits, with their wellness habits, they are building something sustainable, not because the results are going to last forever, but the lifestyle is. You have to think of the changes that you want to make as a lifestyle, not just something short term that you're going to use to get from point A to point B, but something that you're going to implement. And so by this, I mean creating identity-based habits. Not saying, I'm just going to do this because it's supposed to get me these results, but saying, I'm doing this because that's the type of person I am and the type of person I show up as. For example, instead of telling yourself, I need to work out or I'm going to try to work out more often, tell yourself, I am the type of person who works out and who moves their body daily, and put a reason or a purpose behind it. I move my body daily because I know it is good for me, because it is giving me long-term sustainable health benefits. Whatever the story is for you, but don't say, oh, I'm trying to quit smoking. I'm not the kind of person who smokes or drinks or parties or needs external validation or cheats on tests, cheats on boys, whatever the story is. You shape the person you are, not by the habits you are attempting, but the kind of person you identify as. Your habits don't identify you, but your identity defines your habits. So be the kind of person who shows up for themselves every single day. Don't do things and think it's going to magically transform your heart and your mindset. You have to rewire your perspective from the start and say, I am the kind of person that works hard. I am the kind of person that is honest and kind and giving. Think of the kind of person you want to be, and then you show up as that kind of person every single day. Hopefully that gives you an idea of where you need to stand with the kind of habits that you are building, but some specific habits that you can start that have fully transformed me. Number one thing we have to do is we have to cut back on the social media intake at least first thing in the day. I tried this thing where I stayed off my phone at least an hour minimum after waking up. So instead of waking up and first thing checking my texts, checking my emails, checking how many likes I got on my post, because that's a horrible way to start your day and your dopamine levels. Instead, I tried last night, actually slept with my phone on airplane mode, which I know can be iffy for some people because what if there's an emergency, whatever, at least do not disturb. And then when you wake up, you don't see all your notifications immediately. Do not check them. I know I like to check at least what time it is when I wake up so that I know what time of day it is, or if you need to turn off your alarm, whatever. But no notifications intentionally. Put the phone back down. Go downstairs, make your breakfast, do your morning routine, sit outside with your breakfast. Just practicing having time without your screen disrupting you is huge. Start your day with something intentional, whatever that means for you, something that grounds you. For me personally, what I like to do is I started saying when I woke up first thing, God, please get in my head before anything else does. And that was game changer for me because it's just welcoming God, but also myself to not let anything else get in the way and just be able to fully welcome in presence and light and positivity instead of, oh my gosh, first thing on my feed is whatever horrible stuff is happening in the world or whatever controversial, social, whatever is happening. It's terrible. A terrible way to feed your mind. And I want you guys to remember this. However you start your day is how it will go. So if you wake up and you put trash in your brain, the rest of the day is going to be trash. But if you wake up and you decide to fill your mind and feed your heart with positivity and something that is refreshing and refueling, that is how your day will feel. And I feel such a big difference. I'll give you the example. Yesterday, I slipped up. I messed up real bad because I woke up and I checked my phone. And especially as someone who works on their phone, I can't. I have to stay away from it if I want to have any ounce of personal time to myself, if that makes any sense. And so I picked up my phone and then I spent hours. And I just was lazy all day. I accomplished nothing on my to-do list all day. And that's how my day went. I put trash in and I got trash out. And today was the polar opposite of that. And I am having such a great day. I feel like I got so much done. I'm going to go meet up with a friend. I'm going to go to church. And I walked 2 miles before it was even morning time or afternoon time. And I just did so much. And it's not because I'm like, I have to do all these things and then I will become the person I want to be. But it's, I want to do these things because that is what's aligned with the kind of person I am or want to identify as. If you don't think doing these things will make you 1% better every day, you are in for a shock. I challenge you, even if you're listening to these tips and you're like, everyone says that, that's silly, that's cliche, that's worthless, pointless. I challenge you, in fact. I will bet money on it. I'll bet money on it. Give it a week of living life doing these things that I'm telling you. You guys are gonna owe me $20 if we put $20 on it. Like, I'm so for real right now. Whether you do this in the morning or night, embrace solitude. Solitude is being able to sit alone in silence. I stopped scrolling or needing something to watch while I ate. And even just having that moment of solitude, it lets your brain really get quiet. And it lets you figure out what is actually on your mind. What are the things that you actually need to think through? We've gotten so used to always needing noise, whether it's music in the car, a YouTube video playing while we're eating dinner or something like that. Like, just sit in silence for once. That is my challenge to you. I started doing this thing. I haven't, on some days especially when I really need to think, I won't play any music on my car rides home. And I know that might sound crazy, but sometimes I just need the silence. And I feel like once you welcome in solitude, you're able to appreciate it more. And I have become so appreciative to the point where I don't even notice. If I'm not playing music in the car, sometimes I almost prefer it. Obviously, I've been listening to like Christmas music lately. That's a new one as of late. But on regular, especially a long day after work or after church, or if there's something that I just need to sit and marinate in, I actually love being able to sit and reflect and circle back to certain things and just remember we don't do that anymore. As a society, if there's any certain point where there's any silence, we instantly want noise. We seek it. If there's a dull moment, say something you don't mean or pick up your phone and start texting or scrolling social media. But I love silence. I want to talk about your environment. I'm going to ask you guys to all stop and think real quick and ask yourself, what would the environment of your ideal dream highest self look like? And I don't mean it's a mansion, right? Imagine if they lived in the room that you're living in right now. So nothing monetary, right? All that you already have. But ask yourself, would it be super cluttered, disorganized, dirty? Or would it be organized, have a lot of inspiration everywhere? Maybe they would rearrange everything a certain way and have a lot of artwork on the walls and always open the windows and let the light in. Ask yourself that. And this is something that you can do that costs $0. I don't mean you need all new furniture and you need the room aesthetic a certain way. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying just imagine the conditions of the room. I can almost bet you money that the dream highest version of yourself would not be living in absolute clutter. They wouldn't be unorganized. They would have it together. Again, it doesn't matter the size of your room, the color of your room, the theme of your room. I feel like that is something for me, at least, growing up and for the longest time. I would always tell myself that when I have my dream room, then I'll keep it clean, which is so ridiculous. And I want you guys to think of the concept of stewardship, whereas God will give us things, right? Everything we have, he entrusted to us. And we have to show that we can take care of it before being able to move on to something else. So you can't be crossing your fingers and hoping for your dream car. I want a bright red Ferrari. And then your current car that you have, you keep it messy. You let the gas run out. You crash it. I don't know. You know what I'm saying though. So a habit that you can start today when it comes to your environment is to start doing closing shifts and morning shifts for your room or your home. Essentially, this is setting yourself up for success the next day. When I come home tonight, my closing shift is going to be to clean everything up, put everything away so that tomorrow when I wake up, I feel like I'm waking up as a higher version of myself, because when I wake up and my room is messy, like I did today, I'll be honest, my room was messy today. And when I wake up and that's the first thing I see, that doesn't make me motivated. That doesn't make me want to be any more productive whatsoever. That makes me tell myself the story of, oh, this is the kind of person I am. I'm the kind of person who is messy, who is unorganized, who doesn't have their life together. But when you wake up, if you did your closing shift properly and you have a fresh space, a clean canvas, think of it like that, a clean canvas, then it's all yours to fill with productivity and positivity for the entire day. And when I wake up and my room is put together and it's organized, I'm like, oh, I'm straight from the Pinterest boards. I am the kind of girl who keeps her life together. And again, don't tell yourself, I'm going to try and keep my room clean from now on. After listening to this episode, no, tell yourself, I am the kind of person who keeps it clean. I heard something that also changed me completely, and it's when it comes into terms of your to-do list. I am a list maker, and I think that's something that you can do to really help level up your life and productivity levels. If you want to get stuff done, you have to write it out. You have to make some sort of accountability system, whether it's checking things off, crossing them off on a list, putting them on your phone, on your calendar, whatever works for you. And I think it's definitely trial and error to see which works the best. But I'm the kind of person who at the beginning of the day, I think I'm Superwoman and I put everything on this list. And for example, like yesterday, I did none of it. And I almost knew from halfway through the day that I was going to accomplish none of it because I'm looking at this list and I was in the all or nothing mindset. I was stuck in that way of thinking. So I was like, I know I'm not going to be able to accomplish these things. What's the point? Almost, I'll try again tomorrow. One, that's never the way to think. I never want you guys to think, oh, what's the point? I'll start over tomorrow. You know, there is still something you can do every single day that will make you at least 1% better, if not more. So what's proven to be effective is to make a list of your top 6 priorities. 6 is a good number. It's a safe number. It's not playing it too easy, like, okay, only 2 things on the to-do list for today, but it's also not like 20 things and I need to finish them all today or else I'm going to be so upset with myself, which is the attempt or approach that I tend to take with myself. But with these 6 things, it's much more manageable. And so the idea is think of the top 6 things that you need to get done. For me today, it was film my podcast episode, clean my room, film a video, edit another video, upload something, and we'll say decorate for Christmas, okay? And these are things that have been on my to-do lists throughout the week. And this is just 6 things, pretty manageable, enough to the point where I could do it all in a really productive day. But if you don't, you carry those things over to the next day. So if you got 3 of the things done today, the next 3 have to be carried over to the next to-do list. And you can't put something new on until a space opens up for it in the list of 6. And this is such a great tactic because you're going to make sure that you're not driving yourself insane and going off the rails with all these crazy ideas of things that you need on your to-do list. So if you struggle with actually getting things done productively, I highly suggest that you try that. I have a full podcast episode about productivity specifically and how to stop wasting time. I'm going to put listening to that episode on the list of things that will make you 1% better every single day because that episode rewired my brain and I was the one who was talking about it, but all the research and everything that I gathered was so helpful for me to just understand how to actually be productive and how to view time as a tool and not a currency or something that we're always lacking. And that's another huge tip I have is to use time as a tool. We often think to ourselves, oh my goodness, I don't have any time. Like if I had more time, I would become the dream top version of myself. I would have accomplished all my goals, but we all have the exact same 24 hours in a day. Granted, I think there's exceptions to this. Sometimes people maybe have a really busy job or they have kids, something that is a huge task. But regardless, most of us have some extent of free time. And I need you to ask yourself, what are you doing with your free time? Most people's answers to this are watching a Netflix show, scrolling social media, bed rotting. And I need you guys to tell yourself one thing. I will value my free time. Cherish your free time because one day you're going to be 10 times infinitely busier than you are right now because the truth is when you are more successful, you don't get less busy. You just learn how to appreciate and manage your time better than you are right now. And when we are mismanaging your time, I feel like we're not appreciating it. So learn how to steward your time and your energy towards something that is productive and beneficial. Something I love and I challenge you all to is to start a hobby. I challenge you to start a hobby. And I know you might be thinking like, Brie, how is this going to make me a millionaire? How is this going to get me my dream job? This is going to help fuel your mind and your spirit because I need to make it clear to you guys that becoming 1% better every single day, this doesn't mean you're just going to focus on the monetary aspect or the success levels, but this means fueling your body, fueling your mind, exercising those things because if we don't have that, you are not going to get to the point where you want to be. And that's the common mistake that we all make, is we hyper fixate and hyper focus on this goal and become so tunnel vision for it that we forget about everything else, because that just feels like the extra stuff. The mindset, the fitness, the wellness, that just seems like the extra fluff that isn't really going to matter, but we need to focus on this one thing. That extra stuff, the fluff, those are the pillars. Those are the foundation that you are going to build your dreams and success on top of. And if you don't have strong footing in that, the rest is going to come crumbling down. And I learned this fast, you guys. When I first started doing social media full time, I was 19. And I was like, wow, I'm finally making money off my TikTok, my fashion videos. It's going so well. My dream to become an influencer and be famous is finally here. And it's finally time. And I quit my job. Zero structure, going out, partying, staying in bed until 5 p.m. and it's dark out, because I could say that I was working when I'm just laying in bed on my phone scrolling TikTok all day. It was not sustainable because I didn't have the pillars to help me with it. So that's super huge. And I lacked structure and I lacked routine, and it all came crumbling down because there was no foundation. So another huge tip I have is to stick to a routine. There's some people I know, even if they come home blackout drunk from a night out, they're doing their routine. It doesn't matter. And I love this. I used to only do my routine for the longest time up until recently. I would only follow my routine if I had work that day. And if I had a day off, but there were plans later on, I wouldn't wait until an hour before the plans to start doing my routine. But now I've switched it so that no matter what, whatever happens, whatever I have going on that day, I have that routine, because consistency literally releases dopamine in your brain, and that tells your brain that it wants to do it more. Sticking to a routine will be so beneficial for you, because little things like brushing your teeth and flossing and eating a healthy breakfast, those things in your routine are already making you at least 1% better every single day. So even the tiniest progress, like flossing your teeth, for example, if you need to build that habit, that is helping build momentum, and it's creating almost a reward loop in your brain. And that is what is telling you that it wants to do more and it wants to get better. Another huge thing I challenge you guys to do, I know I talked about solitude and sitting in silence. If you can't sit in silence, one, I need you to be cautious and aware of the type of music you are listening to. Honestly, words in your music are almost like they're affirming to you. So if you're listening to something really sad or really angry or really violent or aggressive, that is how it's going to make you feel, whether you realize it or not. I used to immediately get in the car and listen to sad music. Next thing I know, I'm crying, or I'm mad at my boyfriend, or I'm starting a problem. Same thing with the kind of shows you watch or the type of podcasts you listen to. If they have really dull, negative energy, or they're always gossiping or talking bad about people, how do you think that's going to reflect for you? So I challenge you to get 1% better each day. Yes, take in information, but make sure it's valuable. You need to feed your brain actual food and not trash. What you get in is what you're going to put out. So listen to a self-help podcast every day. I have plenty of them. Listen to worship music. That's something I've started doing. If I'm not listening to worship music, I'm listening to a podcast that's going to teach me something, like learn how to have a hunger for learning and taking in information and start bettering yourself. And it gets to a point, once you're completely rewired with your identity, it's like, why would I do any of that? Once I started focusing on my health and taking care of my well-being, everything else felt so pointless. Going out, drinking, partying, staying out till 4 a.m., why would I do that? And almost erase everything that I've built myself for. Of course, have fun, and on a special occasion, sure, I probably will go out to celebrate with my friends or whatever it may be, but for the regular basis, if your habits are strong enough, if your foundation is strong enough, the rest becomes so unappetizing to you, and it's almost rewarding. That's how you know you really rewired something. And I just hit that point, and it feels so good, you guys. And I just encourage all of you, if you have a bad habit that you're trying to break, vaping, smoking, drinking, partying, if you're able to rewire your identity and put fuel into the other aspects of your life, the health, the wellness, the mindset, it will make it so much easier, because you're going to say, I'm the kind of person who does all these amazing things, and then I'm going to go do all these negative things to counteract it. It really is such a rewarding and eye-opening feeling. Another huge thing I want you to start doing is to tell yourself every single day something that you are proud of yourself for. Journal it, say it out loud, whatever that may mean to you. But we hardly ever encourage ourselves. And it's so interesting to me because I've always been the kind of person that extends grace and forgiveness towards other people, but I never gave myself that back in return. And so once you learn how to be a friend to yourself and someone who you want to take care of, becoming 1% better every single day becomes so easy. The same way how every day maybe you have a friend or significant other who you do pour into every single day, you should be pouring into yourself in the exact same way. Another thing that will make you 1% better every single day is to remember that rest is not only productive, but it's 100% necessary. If you are not getting enough sleep, you're going to be a horrible person. Not just to say moodiness wise, that might just be a me thing, who knows, but in general. But to be more productive, you need sleep. To recover and build muscle from your workouts, you need sleep. So remember, anytime that you go to sleep early, you're not missing out on anything. That is actually productive, and that is what will change you infinitely, is being a well-rested person, believe it or not. So going to sleep earlier will change everything. There's something so magical about going to sleep early and waking up early and knowing that you're awake before everyone else, or that you got more done today earlier than you were ever even awake on a normal day. And I think that's so rewarding, and it helps you really identify as the kind of person who you are, because is the dream version of yourself sleeping in until noon? No. They're going to bed early, they're getting at least their 8 hours, and they're waking up at a sufficient time. I want you guys to know that growth can be graceful, and that it can be compassionate and warm and enjoyable, and it doesn't have to be miserable and like it's this crazy hustle grind culture. 1% each day is really all you need to start out with, and then it snowball effects. When you are doing things every single day that build as strong habits or foundation as the kind of person you are, that shapes you and molds you to want to create even more healthy habits and to become an even better person. So don't expect it all to happen overnight, but the 1% better each day will go miles and miles for you guys. And so I challenge you all to just be more intentional with how you spend your time and write down what are the things that you're going to do today that will make you a better person, at least by 1%. And I have a mantra for you guys, okay? Every day I am becoming the healthiest, hottest, highest version of myself, at least by 1%. At least. And 1% is like if you do one of the things that I named, maybe, but even more. The more you get used to it, the more you grow, the stronger the habit builds. And that is why you guys should be just so proud of yourself for even taking the step to listen to this episode. You listening to this episode has made you probably 37% better than before, because if you implement these things every single day, it will keep growing and it will keep unfolding and you will keep benefiting from it. Again, be so proud of yourself for just taking the time and the interest for self-improvement and loving yourself and caring for yourself. That is the best place to start, and starting is the first step. So I'm so proud of you. If you guys enjoyed this episode, I hope you'll rate it 5 stars and leave a review for the chance to be featured in next week's episode. Don't forget to subscribe and let me know what you guys want to hear next week. I'm always taking recommendations. I love talking to you guys in our Instagram group chat. You guys can add me on there at Brianna Gomez with 2 B's on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest, everywhere. Follow the podcast at Hot and Unbothered on Instagram and TikTok. I also have been going live on my TikTok, so make sure you guys join on there. Follow on YouTube, Spotify, everywhere else. I'm so grateful for you and I'm so proud of you. I love you guys so, so much, and I will see you next Day. Bye. Mwah.